Hello everyone, I'm Ryan and welcome back to Counselors and Coffee. Today we're going to be talking with Jessie about how we screw it up when it comes to counseling adolescents. Hello everyone and welcome back. As I said before, I'm Ryan and this is Counselors and Coffee. Or
Woo-hoo.
Counselors and Tea.
Yeah.
Chai tea.
It's really good.
Coffee. If you're new to the channel and you like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe. Actually, do it now. Like
right now.
Now. Stop and do
Pause.
it now.
Do it. Good.
And if you don't like it, lie and click like anyway and subscribe anyway.
That's all we ask.
Yeah, it'll be great. I feel wonderful. And before we start, I'm actually going to pose a question of the day now so that it can marinate in your head a little bit. And then at the end of the show, you comment at the bottom.
Nice.
And the question is, what is one hesitation you have about working with adolescents and why? And I'm not just asking it just to ask stuff, but honestly, part of this show is to try to have a community of therapists to help each other out.
Yeah.
And because your comment could actually help out another therapist who's struggling in some of these areas. So comment and share with us your wisdom. This is just the start of a conversation, and you just keep it going in your own circle. Why do you like what you do?
So I really like what I do because I get to see, well, first of all, I work with teens and I love teens so much. So that's like super rewarding.
We should do a show about that.
Oh my word.
Like now. Hey!
Yeah, so working with teens is great, but then also I work with them in my office and then they walk out of my office and I get to see if they're going to practice their skills or not. Whereas outpatient, it's like, I hope this goes with you. I hope you use it throughout the week before you come back. I literally get to see my clients interact with each other and practice the skills that they're talking about. So it's really fun.
So you get to see the fruit of your labor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and if they come back into my office and they say, yeah, it's been going fine, I can be like, no.
No, it's not.
I saw this happen earlier. Like, let's talk about it. So that's really fun.
You saw me.
Yeah, they know that they can't lie because I see them all day long, work with them all day long, so it's fun.
That's awesome. Why is this topic important to you? I know you love what you do, but why is it important for you to share about different ways we screw it up when it comes to working with kids?
Because I don't think we see it.
Sorry, adolescents.
Adolescents, yes. I don't think we see the damage that we're doing. And we, you know, adolescents generally are feared because of, they come across as like having a lot of attitude and not following directions and that kind of thing, being oppositional. And I, like, the reason I'm passionate about it is that we have set up society in a way that's not for teenagers. And so they're not thriving within that system. And then we're mad at them for not thriving within this system that we created that's not really for them.
Could you unpack that a bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
About the society, how it's not for them, but we want them to fit into it anyway. Yes.
You know, actually, it's really lucky that we're doing this today because I had a client just a day or two ago who is approaching graduation and, you know, all of his friends are graduating and everything. And he was like, yeah, it's crazy because all of a sudden, like, some of my friends are doing military, some are doing college, some are doing technical programs. And it's just crazy to see the different directions they're going in because up until now, everything has been the same. They all are doing the same thing, you know? And I thought that was really interesting because adolescence is a time of exploration. Yeah. And yet we're funneling them through this system where everything's got to be the same. If you don't fit in the system, you end up at my day treatment. You know, if you don't fit this cookie cutter thing, you end up at my day treatment. And so, yeah, we've just set up a system that is not, it's built for adults, what adults think would be best for teens. It's not built for what's actually best for teens. Yeah.
I noticed that too. So I've worked, I don't work with adolescents right now, but I kind of cut my teeth on adolescents.
Nice.
It was a residential treatment facility for adolescents.
Yeah.
And so they lived there for a period of time and they had to be there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like what you're saying. The hardest part for me was working with not the teen, the system around the team.
Yes.
the social worker, the probation officer, the parents, the teachers.
Right.
What everyone wanted the kid to do, which is fine. I mean, we have wisdom, let's use it. But there's very little listening to what the kid actually needed. And not just listening, but you hear the words, screw you, F you, like they're getting mad, right? But it's listening for the affect behind the words.
Yes.
And no one was doing that.
Exactly. That's not normalized in our society to actually, because we think, okay, I'm an adult. I've been through a lot of things. I have a lot of experience and wisdom, like you said. So I know what's best for you. But that's like, not to compare teenagers to toddlers, although the aggression is pretty similar actually in those stages of life.
Just more sophisticated.
Yes, like bigger vocabulary, but same aggression. But yes, so it's like with a 2-year-old, if they come up to you and they're like, blah, then you're like, okay, you're mad, you're having a tantrum, got it. Whereas with a teenager, if they come at you and they're swearing and everything, then we don't say, okay, got it, you're mad. We say, you're disrespecting me, you need to get in line, and it doesn't even matter how I've been treating you, you need to respect me because I'm an adult. And that's incredibly stifling and damaging. And then as these teenagers grow up in the system, then they turn 18, a totally arbitrary number, and we turn them out into the world, and we're so mad at them for not knowing who they are, what they want to do, and we have set them up for failure, and then we're mad at them for failing. And imagine now, add on top of that, if the teen has experienced any sort of trauma, it's going to be more complicated, and our system is even less equipped for that, you know? So then this poor adolescent is trying to figure out who they are, what they want to do. Also, a lot of the time teens blame themselves for things, so if they've endured a trauma, they're going to feel like it was their fault, even if they say like, no, it wasn't me, like it was that person and screw them or whatever. Once you get down to the meat of it, they're like, they either say I deserved it or I can't figure out if I deserved it or not. And that's terrible. That's awful. And how are you supposed to thrive with that? But our society is not set up for teaching emotional intelligence, processing trauma. So instead they stuff it all in because everyone says shut up, don't talk about it, stuff it all in, and then it comes out in big behaviors, and suddenly they're a bad kid. They get that label.
You know, it's interesting, as sophisticated adults in the mental health counseling realm, we're not too far off from that. You said, shut up, we don't talk about it. Often I feel like we're supposed to be sophisticated and have all this intellectual knowledge and wisdom, but within sometimes circles of counselors, we're having struggles. I don't know how to deal with this. And a lot of it, they don't say shut up, but the body language is, I'm uncomfortable. Can you talk about this somewhere else? And we have master's degrees and all these hours of supervision and clinical training, and we struggle with it. Let alone a kid. An adolescent. Dang it. So when I used to work, they loved the word kid because they said it felt like they were innocent. So I use the word kid. But I mean adolescent.
How interesting that they would crave that innocence again. They're kids who were growing into adults. It's a transitional time, you know? So the opportunity to be seen as innocent, of course they're going to jump at that because they get all of these like traumas forgiven. And that. So I just think that's really interesting that they asked for that.
What would you say is the most challenging part for you of working with adolescents?
The most challenging part right now, where I'm at in my career right now, the most challenging part is like how do I phrase it? Just recognizing, like, I'll bring a client in, I'll just meet them, we start to build rapport, and I'm thinking like, okay, what are their struggles and what do they need? And it's heartbreaking to me how often the answer is they need help loving themselves. They need help with their self-esteem. They need to understand that they're not a piece of garbage, you know? And it's also very rewarding to be able to focus on that and see that self-esteem grow and see them become confident in who they are. But it like causes me to be angry when I like to see how often that happens, because it's just them being stomped on all the time. And these really awesome kids, like the teams that I work with are smart, they're clever, they're hilarious, but they've been stomped on so much and told that they're bad kids. So that's the probably hardest part for me right now.
For me, I think it was the hardest part, but it's also the most frequent thing to do, was working with the whole system, because the adolescent doesn't have any power within the system.
Right.
They do. They will get that power by acting out and doing all these different things, but healthy ways to get power, they're kind of powerless. You're going to go here. If you don't, call them probation, blah, blah, blah. So it's working with the system. And then also translating the family therapy.
Yeah.
The parent says this, the kid hears that.
Yeah.
I keep saying it.
I said it once just a second ago. It's like, oh my God, I said kid.
The parent says this, the parent says this, the teen hears this, something different. The teen says this, the parent sees this.
Yeah.
And two ships crossing in the middle of the night and trying to develop, essentially to speak a new language, to speak the teen's language, and the teen speak the parent's language. And when that actually lines up and happens and they connect,
so awesome.
they can finally work through some of the issues.
It's so awesome. I love that moment. Like so many times of like a parent saying, well, you gotta stop doing this, and then you can see the teen shut down, and you know, like, okay, I was about to tell a story and go on a tangent. I'm sick with the story. You know that they're like feeling that shame. You know, like these teens want to be good, but because of life situation or whatever it may be, they're seen as not handling things well. And so to be able to stop that moment and say, what did you just hear? And have them say, I heard that I'm a bad kid, when really the parent maybe said, like, you need to stop skipping school or something like that. But the kid is hearing, I need to stop being bad. And so to be able to stop that, and then the parent go, oh, that's not what I was saying. I love that moment so much. It's just so great to see a parent and a child, like, actually connect. Love it.
And that's the thing with counseling, is the hardest moments is the same, different side of the same coin becomes the strongest and most rewarding moments. And the parallel process that happens, the teen does not feel like they're good enough, their self-worth is down, and when we talk through things, we can finally pull it out when the adult is able to be vulnerable enough and say, I feel like I'm a terrible parent. Right. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm failing my kid. And then for the kid, for the I don't know if I can back that whole thing up.
No need.
So the teen says, when the teen hears that, that their mom or dad feel like same exact way, but they're an adult, it's like, oh, it's okay that I don't have this figured out.
It humanizes the parent, right? And then in turn humanizes the teenager. Suddenly they both are like, oh, we both have flaws, and that's okay. Instead of, you have this flaw and that's not okay. You have this flaw and that's not okay. Totally.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of, like, these difficult things have happened, but it hasn't really affected me. And, like, to meet that teenager where they're at, okay, so it hasn't really affected you. Gotcha. What are things that are affecting you? And, like, starting from there, and I'm skipping school, so I'm not going to graduate. Okay, and then we talk about that and then break it down to, I'm skipping school because I'm having a hard time in class because I can't comprehend what is being taught, so I feel ashamed, so I leave school. You know, like, guiding them to that deeper. I do a lot of this in my sessions. What we're talking about right now is really surface level. We need to go deeper. I use this and this. Boom.
Show done. That's how you do it.
That's how you do therapy.
This and this. How have you seen therapists and counselors screw up when it comes to working with adolescents?
Wow. Yeah. First, I want to say I've seen a lot of people work beautifully with teens.
Yes.
Beautifully. But I have definitely seen mental health professionals not work well with teens, because teens, like kids and like elderly people, they're automatically a marginalized population because they're vulnerable. They're very impressionable. And so I've seen mental health professionals fall into the trap of, like, trying to train behaviors out of teens, and teenagers are actually not animals, so they should not be trained, you know, like, they need that time to explore. But I have seen professionals kind of, like, you know, like, you need to do this, you need to do that, get it together, and that's, from what I have seen, is not helpful. No. It doesn't help, you know, it's just adding to the rest of the system that's putting them down. I've also seen some professionals that fall into the trap of, like, working with a teenager, and then teenagers can be very appreciative. Like if you do something for them, they will attach to you, especially a traumatized teenager. They will attach to you. And so I've seen some professionals that will kind of maybe not even realize it, but they start to like seek the gratification from the teenager.
I was just gonna say that you didn't go there.
Yep. And that's not okay.
Yeah, but I think it's screw up, identify you screwed up, how do we make this better, right?
Exactly.
No shame, just work on it.
Yes.
Like this show, we're figuring out how to make it better all the time.
Yeah.
Some of you guys thinking it's getting worse. Stop filming. Get off the internet.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
So those are ways we screw it up. Maybe that's one of the antidotes, is to keep that in mind, that they're so much more susceptible to feeling those negative emotions.
Yes.
And it doesn't even matter to the words we say often. It's how we say them. It's when we say them.
Absolutely.
Like you said, if I cut you off the second you have that idea versus give it some air, let it marinate, they might come to that conclusion on their own.
Exactly. Let them experience it. Let them make the decision. And I mean, if you have this whole conversation, they're like, yeah, juggling chainsaws, I think that would be the best idea. I mean, it's not like you don't establish boundaries.
Yeah.
Say, this is a safety
no,
issue.
okay.
Right.
We gave you some rope, and let's talk about it.
We talked about it, and still that's a safety issue, so no, you're not allowed to juggle chainsaws, but you let them explore it. You let them think about it, you know? So let them live it. Let them come to the conclusion, you know?
Well, Jessie, this was a hootenanny.
It sure was.
Sure is shooting. Before we bounce and dip, let's come back to that question that we were marinating on earlier. What is one hesitation you have about working with adolescents, and why? So help a brother or sister out.
Yes.
And comment. So yeah, thanks for watching Counselors and Coffee. Don't forget to like and subscribe now. You should have already done it.
Now. If you messed up before, do it now.
Or else. I'll ask you again.
Okay.
Yeah. Deuces.
Bye.
Bye.